Todd bhai, welcome to our studios.
Thanks a lot. Delighted to be here.
First of all, did you like the final?
A bit dismayed, actually. So, I've got two words if I want to describe the final: swashbuckling for Spain, shambolic for Argentina. So, to be honest, I've never seen a final where one side is doing all the attacking and the other side is helplessly in the defense line trying to block the attacks. So it was actually a one-sided affair, totally one-sided affair.
Where do you think the match was lost? Tactically, from very high tactical gameplay by Spain, or Argentina could not handle their nerves?
I think several reasons. First, the Argentine players appeared edgy. They were on their nerves for some reason. That's one reason. Secondly, from the start, from the word go, they somehow adopted a very defensive style of play. Instead of focusing on offense, they focused on defense, which gave Spain the advantage. And of course, if you give Spain the advantage, they will take it. They're a very fast-paced side. They adopt the tiki-taka to perfection, and they played a scintillating game without taking any pressure. In fact, it was Argentina which was taking the pressure. So when the game began, we expected a toe-to-toe sort of competition. In the end, unfortunately, we did not get that. What we got was one side on an onslaught and the other side helplessly, desperately trying to fend off the attacks. So just to mention, one really frustrated spectator who was with me said, if Spain had played Bangladeshi club side Arambag, then even then the match would have been much more exuberant. There you go. That's actually illustrates the mentality of the Argentine fans.
Do you think, given the fact that the amount of quality this Spain side possess, especially and after what tactics the coach used, this side can go on to dominate world football for the next decade?
Indeed. Look, what I see is indeed, absolutely. Because from what I have seen from yesterday's game, the signs are very clear. You can't miss them. I think this is the beginning of the ascendancy of the Spanish Armada, if I may call it. The Spain had a glorious period 15 years ago. And then I think in the interim period, they developed. And the result of that development is for us to see. And we just saw it yesterday. It is absolutely a perfect side. They played immaculate football. The passing is top notch. And in 4 years, I'm expecting Yamal, their star player, would be in his early 20s. And he would turn out to be deadly.
On the hindsight, do you see this Argentine side struggling in the coming years?
I do, actually. Indeed, I do. Because in 4 years, a lot of the current players will not be in the team.
4 or 5 at least.
4 or 5 at least, including their linchpin, Lionel Messi. Now, this is a team, I would say, which centers around Messi. Messi is the catalyst. He inspires, he motivates all the other players. Now, this was possibly his last World Cup. I think it is his last. So he won't be here. Quite a few other players won't be here. So it's going to be a brand new side. And Argentina has had their glorious period in the last 12, 13 years. They played in three
World Cup finals.
They won one. They became runners-up in 2, which is, I would say, creditable performance.
Of course, 2 Copa Americas with that.
Absolutely with that, precisely. And Messi won other accolades for clubs. So they've had a very sensational, scintillating run. So no power stays on top forever. Now, possibly, we might see a decline of the Argentine team.
Well, along with Argentina, Brazil is also suffering from someone like an iconic character, a mythical character, like maybe a Ronaldo Nazario or a Ronaldinho. Well, Vinicius is trying, Neymar
it's
is
time,
at
yes.
the fine end of his career. Do you think these two teams will tend to or will find out a new icon for themselves just to move forward?
Well, they would be desperate to find new players who can make impact on the pitch, both Brazil and Argentina. More for Brazil, because Brazil has been on the decline for quite some time, and they desperately need to make the mark in world football, and they should have somebody, because they've got a pipeline. It's just a matter of time when we see the resurgence of Brazil, because they have been on the decline for quite some time. So my hunch is, in the coming days, we might see a resurgence of the Brazilian side with new players, new faces.
Of course, new coach Carlo
New coach,
Ancelotti.
of course. And Argentina, well, Argentina will go into decline first. You have to fall down first before you rise up. So that's the reality we must accept.
Well, do you think the South American teams would be able to regain their dominance over the European footballing nations in the in tournaments like World Cup or global tournaments?
Of course, the hope is there. We hope they would come back strongly. But the problem is, when you compare European teams with South American teams, who's the comparison between? And who comes into the comparison? It's only Argentina and Brazil. They're of a certain league, whereas the other teams are far below. Uruguay, Bolivia, Colombia. I'm not saying they're not cohesive teams. And on a good day, they can provide sensational, spectacular football. However, there are limitations of these teams. They either go up to the quarterfinals or maximum the semi-finals. Therefore, we come back to Argentina and Brazil. So if they want to maintain some sort of rivalry with the European sides, they must improve. Of course, Argentina has had a glorious run. They might see a decline in the coming days, but I am hoping a Brazilian resurgence again.
Tawhid Firoz, thank you for your time today.
Lovely to be here.